All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Monday evening, man. Another edition of KnicksFanTV Live. On today's episode, man, we got some bombshell breaking Knicks news. The Knicks have found a rat in the organization, a mole, if you will, and are going to take it up with the Toronto Raptors, man. A lawsuit is on the way, and we're going to break it all down, give you all the relevant information of this lawsuit between the Knicks and the Toronto Raptors. Special guest tonight, Mike Vorkanoff, who covers the NBA business beat for The Athletic. So lock in, hit that like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. The number one Knicks show for the fans, by the fans. The number one Knicks podcast for the fans, by the fans. Knicks Fan TV. All right, CP the franchise, Mike Vorkanoff of The Athletic on the ones and twos here. Never a dull moment in Knicks land, Mike. Never a dull moment, man.
It's August, man. It's supposed to be quiet.
Yeah. And here you are. You thought you escaped the Knicks beat for greener pastures, but it's the gift that keeps on giving. Because as we've learned today, the New York Knicks have engaged in a lawsuit with the Toronto Raptors because former Knicks employee Ike Azotam, who the Knicks hired as their video coordinator and also director of video/analytics/player development assistant, the Knicks allege that Ike has been sending proprietary information to his new employer, the Toronto Raptors, using company assets and divulging secret information, man. What was your take when you saw this, man?
Well, for one, I was shocked a little bit. I don't remember the last time one NBA team sued another. I just straight up, I don't think that happens very often, right? The other part is I've been trying to make sense of it all is, where's the line between just guys leaving teams, taking some stuff with them out the door, which I think happens, and where and if this crossed that line. And I think it kind of differs just from the people I spoke to. Some people say, hey, this happens. There's not much there. Some people think this is a little bit more than usual. I think the thing that we have to understand, first of all, and this is just a complaint, right? Still has to be adjudicated. We don't know, this is the Knicks version of the case.
Right.
We still have to see what everything was going forward and where all this heads out. And all the people listening who have law degrees and legal understanding know this better than me, so they can explain it. But to me, it's wild, again, just to see two teams in a courtroom and the Knicks are involved. And obviously they have some history with the Raptors. And I don't know. The first thing that came to me was the headline here is, former Knicks employee takes some files, some video stuff, some synergy clips out the door with him, right? Some ways of how the Knicks did their cut-ups, preparing for a team, scouting reports, all that stuff. I thought the bigger claim, if you read through the lawsuit or you read our story about the lawsuit, the Knicks are alleging that Darko Jakovic, the Raptors head coach, was kind of behind this, right? And that they were doing this because he's a first-time head coach. Now, again, that's the Knicks version of the event.
Yeah.
But that to me stuck out as one of the big allegations, and again, allegations in the lawsuit. And so we have to see how this goes going forward.
Absolutely, man. And we have obtained the full complaint logged here by the Knicks. And as you said, we'll use the word allegedly because this is their account of what happened here. But this is pretty damning if this is true, that new Raptors head coach Darko Rajakovic, according to numbers 8 and 9 in this complaint, it says, to assist this novice coach in doing his job, defendant Rajakovic and other Raptors defendants conspired to use Azotam's position as a current Knicks insider to funnel proprietary information to the Raptors to help them organize, plan, and structure the new coaching and video operations staff. That could be a game changer if true.
Yeah, and again, we got to see how all this goes, right? How much is this editorializing by the Knicks? How much of it is, the thing we all got to figure out is we got to figure out what's the norm in the NBA, right? Like when someone leaves one team for another, one coach leaves for another coaching staff, what do they take with them? what do they not take with them, what goes over the line. And I think different people have maybe different let's get into unspoken rules of the league and all that crap that sucks. Uh,
Yeah,
but like that you got to figure out the baseline, right? Like you got to figure out what's okay, what's not okay. But if there was some direction, and if that part turns out to be true, you got to see what the NBA does, and if they step in, and if they think that's something that they need to evaluate and look into themselves.
absolutely, man. And you're definitely right on that. It's like in sports and in regular life, right? You change jobs. Depending on what industry you're in, you might take some files with you to maintain your momentum. In sports, you'll see, like, especially in football, right? The late training camp cuts will get picked up. The Jets will cut a guy. The Patriots will pick him up, right? Belichick is notorious for doing that. They'll pick him up. Yeah, what's in that playbook? What's going
Yeah.
on the other side? So I don't think in sports everybody's just going by an honor code. But where I think this guy dropped the ball, and I think it's partly that the Knicks are trying to make an example of him, is that he used company assets to do his dirt. And that should be a lesson for, because this was my neck of the woods. In a previous life, I did dabble as a IT security consultant. You sign the confidentiality agreements when you work on these jobs, and in some industries, most companies that have the budget to do so, they're going to track what you do when you're using the company information. And where Azotam went wrong is that, as the Knicks allege in this case here, he first of all, he transferred the proprietary files to his personal email, which is rule number one in most corporate security cases that they're going to look at. And then from there, he started sending it to the Raptors. So, I mean, this guy was just sloppy all over the place, man.
Yeah, I mean that was the giveaway, right? Like as you said, he was making all these things in synergy, all these clips, taking I guess some of the clips that they used for the game 82 against the Pacers, I think another game against Denver, and forwarding that stuff to himself to his personal Gmail account, according to what the Knicks say in their lawsuit. And I think that was the tell. And they figured out that this was going on August 15th. His last day was August 14th. And I think that kind of raised some interest, some alarm. You're the IT expert. What's the right way if you're trying to take stuff out of your company to not
Yeah.
get noticed by the IT experts?
You know, the thing is that everything is not going to get tracked. However, when these companies invest in these data loss prevention technologies, they're going to classify certain types of information as proprietary, low-level public information. In this case, when you're talking about scouting reports and things of that nature, the Knicks clearly classify these things as, high classification, very, very top
Well, that's my
secret.
That's my question, though, right? So
Yeah,
it's a scattering report of the Pacers from Game 82. Useless already,
yeah,
right? Like as soon as that season ended, it's useless.
yeah.
Same thing with the Denver scouting report. I think what was more valuable, I guess, from his perspective, or maybe from the Raptors' perspective, or at least in the eyes of what the Knicks allege, is almost like the classification system of how the Knicks did this,
Right.
as opposed to what the information is itself. Uh, that's up for debate. Obviously, I don't know. I can't say enough about what Darko Rajakovic, God, I feel like I'm butchering his name every time, knows and doesn't know, right? Like he's been around the NBA for a while. He's coached at several teams. He's coached for Monty Williams, I think, coached for Taylor Jenkins. Like this isn't his first time figuring out what like a scouting report and a scouting cut up should look like from the video perspective. But that I think to me is probably more the value of the information there than just like, hey, here's the 250 plays the Pacers play all the time. Like,
Yeah.
all right, the Raptors know that. Every team knows every team's other plays. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, what about, because also in this document here, it says that he sent the Raptors, it seemed like, the Knicks intel on Raptors players themselves. So I thought that was
Yeah,
fairly interesting.
yeah, and that would be more so like the proprietary information that is actually valuable. I think more so than like the play calls and
Right.
the scouting reports on other teams' players. And again, um, we have to see what the Raptors' version of the events is too, right? And I'm curious to see what they say about this too, because they will have their time to investigate. They'll have had their time to talk to Azotam, who we haven't heard from in this complaint or any response since, right? And so we'll see how the two sides square up in terms of their structure. It is interesting to me that they said in a statement that the Knicks came to them with this information last week. The Raptors said, "Okay, we'll handle it. We'll go internally. We'll do our own investigation." And it seems like the Knicks gave them no heads up that a lawsuit might be coming or that there was any kind of legal action pending. And so, on top of all that, this seems more acrimonious than even just the lawsuit itself. Just the fact that these are two NBA teams, right? They're peers in a league, in a collective that is based on mutual success to some degree, and they're going at it like this in court now.
Boy, Dolan wasted no time, man. I mean, we're talking a mere matter of weeks before the legal goons got on this, man. Couple of notable things. On August 15th, just last week, the Knicks insider threat security team identified the theft, and the Knicks records show that the stolen files were accessed over 2,000 times by Raptors defendants. Azotam gave them his subscription to Synergy, gave him his login information to create and then transfer to the Raptors defendants over 3,000 files consisting of film, information, and data. Now, this guy also used the Knicks file sharing platform to send these files over to the Raptors, completely oblivious to corporate security protocols, man. I mean, this guy was just sending files left and right. He might as well just left it on his desk and had them pick it up by a courier or something like that.
Yeah, I think look, again, I'm not an expert, so I don't want to say too much myself, but it seems like part of this may have been just like the clumsy way it was all handled, right? As much as anything else. And that's what got him caught. And once he got him caught, there's the question of okay, do we do something with this? How do we handle all this information? We also don't know what happened in between the Knicks finding out about this and the lawsuit being filed and whether there's conversations on either side. But this certainly was handled in a clumsy way. And the information was extracted allegedly, if the Knicks complaint is to be believed, in a clumsy way that probably made it, much easier to track it and to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And, in terms of, people are looking for what the league's response is going to be. But as you said, you have to wait and see, how the Raptors respond, what Azotam says when they have their day in court. When you go back and look at the precedent, obviously at Spygate between the Jets and the Patriots, that one cost the Patriots a fine and a first-round pick. This has also happened in Formula One between McLaren and Ferrari. I think there were just fines levied there. So it's going to be interesting to see if indeed the Knicks have a case here. And it just seems like they do, just based on the fact that a lot of this is corroborated by the actual technology. Does it cost Rajakovic's job? Does it cost the Raptors a pick? Do they get fined? Going to be interesting to see what the penalties are there.
Well, that's the other thing. How far is this going to go? Right? All right, we have a lawsuit. It's public now, right? One, that's probably something the NBA didn't want to see. Let's be real. They don't want to see two teams suing each other, right? So what is the league's opinion of all this? We have seen, obviously, in the past that whatever the league thinks, James Dolan doesn't necessarily care from time to time, right? He will do what he wants. But will there be pressure from the league to try to just end this, basically?
Yeah.
Or the Raptors want to see this go through in the legal process. Will this go to discovery, let alone trial? Will this go to discovery? That can be its own, that can be something that neither side wants, to have people up for depositions, to have files being sought. So I'm kind of curious to see how far this process goes, how long this stays, going through the legal process, and just what else we learn as a result of that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. According to our guy, Ian Begley, a statement from, I believe this is Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment and the Raptors on the civil suit. It says, MLSC and the Toronto Raptors received a letter from MSG on Thursday of last week, bringing this complaint to our attention. MLSE responded promptly, making clear our intention to conduct an internal investigation. What else does he say here? MLSE has not been advised that a lawsuit was being filed or has been filed following its correspondence with MSG. The company strongly denies any involvement in the matters alleged. We will reserve further comment until this matter has been resolved in to the satisfaction of both parties. So that was the response from the Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment Group.
Yeah, I mean they've denied all claims, as you assume that they would, and again, that's the only thing we don't know. We
Yeah.
have one side of the allegations. We have one complaint from the Knicks' point of view, right? Because they're the ones who filed the case itself, the lawsuit itself in the U.S. Southern District in New York. We'll see what the Raptors have to say later on, but it certainly is interesting, and I think this kind of gets into kind of a more intricate world in the NBA of what happens when you leave a team. Just talking to other people in the league now, they're all like, "Hey, that's even a cause for debate. It's
Yeah.
like, is this okay, basically, or did this go too far?" And I've heard different answers from different people so far.
Yeah. I guess as you said, you would have to know specifically like what from synergy was so critical there. The Pacers game from game 82 may not be, but is it a methodology that the Knicks are using that other teams aren't using? It seems like some of this information could be made available if you use like a second spectrum or another third party type of tool anyway. But it's just interesting that the Raptors seem to be very, very interested in this. And I also think it's kind of funny that, a lot of people like to clown the Knicks for their mismanagement. The coaching staff sucks. But according to the Knicks, as you say, it could have been editorialized, but the Raptors were hot after the Knicks management philosophy here.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, you have to do separation of some here of what the allegation of facts are, right? And like what the allegation of assumption is, right? Like, do the Knicks have actual evidence that they think this was being done because the new Raptors head coach wanted to use their filing system, their scouting system, whatever it is, as a basis or at least a point of information for his new way of running a staff? I don't know. That's kind of what they're saying and what the message they want to get across, that their way of telling a story through the lawsuit itself. But what they do allege more factually is just that this information was taken, that there were 3,358 video files taken from the from the Synergy account. That I think is more rooted in fact than like whatever the allegations are against the Raptors head coach and just his motivations behind that. I think we can separate those two things, into two different bins when we're looking through this.
Yeah. Well, these are all allegations, man. But you got to put Ike Azotam in the dumb criminals section of the book, because if you know Dolan is profiling lawyers with the video surveillance technology, if you know he's not letting anybody speak on any matters concerning the team, good or bad, you got to know he's tracking everything, emails and all, of internal employees, man. You got to know that. You got to think
Oh yeah,
that.
I mean, yeah. At MSG, I feel like every keystroke is just being, like they're aware of every keystroke on the computer, and any company, anything is being tracked.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. And for you guys at home, let this be a lesson learned as well. Like I said, you guys mostly on most of your jobs, you're signing confidentiality agreements. Don't send work files to your email without permission, because a lot of those times those things are tracked. Most companies will have personal email from corporate email blocked. Not in the case of the Knicks, but most companies will have that. And, for you guys at home, you just got to know that, because you never know what you could be liable for, whether you're doing it knowingly or you're doing it just to get some work done at home. You just never know what you could be on the hook for. So obviously the Knicks, their technology is up to speed and locked in and at a moment's notice. But you'd be surprised, man. There's many companies in industries that really need to protect this information that don't have that investment in those type of insider threat technologies, man. You'd be very surprised, bro.
I want to hear all the stories that you got about this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
I got to
telling
know
you,
about
man.
your other life and what
Yeah.
you found out.
There's some major corporations out there that you could probably catch slipping if you were looking to make some coin on the black market, man. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say, man. Hey, listen, 60% of cyber incidents are from the inside. It's an inside job. A lot of people think it's foreign actors, it's Russia, it's China, it's all these people. It's from inside, man.
And look, like, right? I think the comparison is maybe in a normal job to like some kind of corporate espionage,
Yeah.
right? Well, like pro sports is so different in the way that everything works, right? Like so much of this stuff is out in the public, right? Like all these scouting reports, you can watch the Knicks games, you can watch the Pacers games, you can
Yeah.
watch the Raptors games, you can bring your own insight into this. And so that's why I'm saying like it's such a slippery slope of like the Knicks called all this confidential, the Knicks called all this proprietary. Obviously, they feel like some of it is, but some of this stuff is out in public. And so it's such a slippery slope of like, what do you take with you? You know,
Yeah.
what is the information that you retain when you go to any other organization? When you leave one team, even if, you know, if you're an assistant GM, whether you're assistant coach in the front of the bench, like what is information that you can and you cannot take with you? And so I'm trying to set baselines for what's real and what's not when it comes to this type of stuff across the NBA, across any sport is really hard.
Yeah, true indeed, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We got 1,000 people in here on the check-in. CP the franchise, Mike Vorkanoff of The Athletic on the ones and twos for this emergency live stream. Dolan is out for blood, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens. The Rhyme Animal Chuck D, $20 super chat. He says, everyone is for sale. The brass is following the lead of renegade players. Adam Silver's ship is sailing through rough waters. Needs a page from the Stern book. We need to concentrate on beating this team on the floor. In my opinion, this is hype. Yeah, man. No wonder the Raptors beat the Knicks so many times in the regular season, man. This guy, Ike, was feeding him all the plays. ISO Brunson. They're going to Brunson.
Who knew the Knicks were running their offense through Brunson?
$5 super chat from Chuck. He says, if we don't have a case, we should still sue them for Bargnani. I agree with that. Give us OG Anunoby and a first round pick for this, man. Knicks have been violated by too many teams this year. Brandon,
real question though. Can you make a trade if you're suing each other in court?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
What's the NBA policy on this?
Yeah. Maybe this is just sour grapes over the Bargnani deal, man. Dolan never forgets, man. You know, he's a petty patty. He never forgets, man.
The Lowry no trade, right? Yeah. Like, remember, wasn't he almost a Knick? Wasn't that ready to go?
Yeah. So you just never know. Shout out to Brandon Guest, franchise channel member as well. He says, well, guess we can kiss the OG trade goodbye. Maybe his contract could be negotiated in a plea deal. Maybe, man. Maybe. So stay tuned.
Well, by the way, we got to say, like, everyone's talking plea deal. This is a civil suit. By the way, this is not a criminal case, right? Like, that's very important to note.
Yeah, that this is a civil suit indeed. So let's see what happened there. Real quick, Mike, you know, Philadelphia's on fire right now. I like to see it. You have the whole Harden situation. That's another thing the league is like, what is going on here? Harden alleging that Daryl Morey promised him a quick trade. Now the league is investigating. Shams is reporting that Philly intends to keep him for the entire season. So Morey's digging in his tracks. What's your take on all of that, man?
I expect chaos. Listen, if we know one thing about Daryl Morey, he's gonna like stick to his guns until he feels like he gets what he is supposed to get in a trade or a contract or whatever. And we have seen from James Harden that if he wants out, he's gonna try to get out. So what happens when those two immovable forces go up against one another? I straight up do not know. Maybe he's trying to, wait out the Clippers. Daryl Morey's trying to wait out the Clippers. Maybe he thinks he gets a better offer when training camp's about to start. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's going to get an all-star level player back for James Harden, right? James Harden's not that kind of guy anymore. He's 34, almost 35. Like we've seen slippage. He's in the last year of his deal. I don't think he'll get a bunch of high picks. I don't think he's going to get some great offer unless it, probably involves three teams to make this all happen. And if James Harden, just dead set on never playing for Philly again, tell me what the way out is. Tell me how this all ends.
Yeah. Well, the Knicks fans are just waiting on Joel Embiid. I think we've shifted.
Oh yeah, I mean the Knicks, they're just like leaning back, smiling. They're like, they're good.
I have no clue how Morey gets out of this with a great deal. I think he's stuck. I can't, as you said, I don't see them getting a player that can help them maintain their championship window. How many teams are looking to trade for James Harden on the last year of his deal? On the decline. Yeah, he had a decent season, but obviously he's on the decline. You don't want to invest too much in a player like that. And then on top of that, have to pay him. Maybe Steve Ballmer is the only one stupid enough to do it. But I just don't see how this ends well for Philadelphia, for Morey. And then look, we'll have to see where that puts Joel Embiid. I mean, there's so much speculation now with him. Now the Knicks are the favorite for him to go to. If as far as the betting odds, it's all over the place, man.
I mean, that's the best leverage James Harden probably has, is if he can get Joel Embiid to make his case, right, for James Harden to come back.
Yeah.
Because Daryl Morey, this is not just one guy in a vacuum. You got to make sure Joel Embiid's happy. That's the franchise right now. So if James Harden can get Joel on his side and kind of be vocal about it, then kind of the math of all this changes.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Have you been tapping into FIBA Hoops? FIBA Hoops starting this Saturday, I believe, or this Friday with Team USA out there in the Philippines. Are you tracking them?
A little bit here and there. I'm not staying up every night like you've been. I know you were doing the scouting report.
Yeah, we're on it.
Brunson had a bad game the other day, but that happens.
Yeah, man. And then this guy Bill Simmons, brings out the pitchforks. Now they want him benched. I didn't like that, man.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Come on, like it's one FIBA game. Like it's not even a real FIBA World Cup game, right? It's all exhibition stuff. And like, that's the interesting thing about what Warriors head coach Steve Kerr has done as the FIBA head coach, is that he seems to want to have some continuity. And this is his way of getting it, just running the same lineups out there. So I don't think Brunson's going to the bench, or you should make anything out of 15 minutes in an exhibition game.
Yeah, I wouldn't make too much out of it, man. But we'll see what happens when the tournament kicks off, man. But Mike, definitely appreciate the insights on the matters, man. Never a dull moment, no off season for you. And yeah, man, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, man. Look for me on Twitter or The Athletic, or nowhere, because I'm going on vacation and you will not find me.
That's a good one, man. Well, definitely enjoy it. And once again, thanks again for the time. For you people at home, I want you to tap into tonight's sponsor, man, and that is NBA 2K Mobile, guys. Definitely check that out, man. As Knicks fans, we have very limited great moments, but we know all of our great moments, man, from the 94 finals, the 99 Cinderella run, Linsanity, Melo, Brunson taking the team to the second round. Well, in NBA 2K Mobile, you have the opportunity to create your own memories, man. It's a great game. If you guys haven't checked it out, go into your app store, whether you're Android or Apple, and download NBA 2K Mobile, man. There's a lot of great features in this game. One of them is the tournament mode, and one of the biggest features of NBA 2K Mobile is that they reward you for everything with player cards. And once you get the player cards, you can essentially create your own fantasy team. So when I opened up the app, the first 5 player cards I got was obviously Jason Tatum. He's the cover athlete. I got DeJounte Murray. I got Karis LeVert, Collins, and I got Nurkic. So it's a decent team. But as you go up, as you level up in NBA 2K Mobile, when you win games, when you make when you accomplish different objectives, when you finish different drills, you'll get your coins, you'll get your points, so you can level up and get more player cards. You can get NBA legends, Bird, Jordan, Magic, so on and so forth, and create your own fantasy team to create your own memories with, man. So it's a great game. Definitely check it out. Very sleek interface. The graphics are on point. And a lot of you guys are on your phones 24/7 anyway, so you might as well tap in to the best basketball franchise, and that is NBA 2K Mobile. Download NBA 2K Mobile for free on the App Store or Google Play, and use my promo code Tatum2K Mobile. That's Tatum2K Mobile to redeem an exclusive Jason Tatum Pearl tier card. So shout out to our friends at NBA 2K Mobile, man. So, Mike, enjoy your vacation, get away from the beat, and we'll catch up in September, October, man. Thanks again for the time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. For you guys at home, we'll check you guys next time, man. Have a great night.